future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Love it.
I am really impressed with our new intro music.
Man, I love that, bro. I'm going to play that at the crib.
Oh, my God. Everyone, thank you again for joining us. This is Focus with Ron Frierson. I'm joined on my left by my brother and co-host, Mr. Woody Wilson.
What's up, everybody? Hey, who's the name? Who's the artist that created that?
His name is Jacoby Jackson.
Jacoby Jackson. Where is he from?
He's out of. He's originally from Terrell, Texas.
Oh,
Jamie
Terrell.
Foxx's
Yeah,
hometown.
I know Terrell, Texas.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Jacoby.
Thank you very much, Jacoby.
What else you got?
This is great. So
before
we get off into the topic du jour, or the month, whatever month is in French, we had submittals from all across the country for new original music material to open up our show. Well, if you guys remember, our regular listeners, we used to open up with one of my favorite bands, Radiohead, and their song National Anthem. That song was what we used to intro each show every week, and we were notified that, unless we decided to pay them a lot of money, we couldn't utilize that anymore. So we decided to go out and have a nationwide search for original material, and we had some great entries. Kim Huggins out of Indianapolis, she sent in a submittal, and then along with a few other people, I had one young lady in Virginia send something as well. But this was fantastic. So again, let me talk about what we need to talk about. Is the Facebook stream up, Jarvis? Okay, so we're working on getting the Facebook stream up right now. So hopefully that'll be up pretty soon. So it's a lot going on in the world. It's almost like we're in a reality show.
It's crazy, man.
We are definitely in reality show land. And we're not dealing with what is a normal and typical presidential campaign in any way, shape, or form. And I do not believe that we're ever going to be the same. This is something that it's what can I say? It's something that we're going to have to deal with for the rest of our foreseeable lives unless there's a major shift. For all our viewers that are listening in through the Facebook stream, we apologize for that hiccup. Technology is something these days. We have so many platforms that we put the show out through.
It's the Russians attack it.
It's the Russians that have attacked and tried to hack our feed because we're bringing you the truth
about Trump.
About Trump
and they don't
as well.
like that.
Exactly. So this week we had a action-packed week. We all know what happened last week. We saw the Entertainment Tonight bus wherein Trump was speaking what he called locker room talk.
I feel sorry for Billy Bush, man. I'm sorry about that.
I don't know if I feel sorry for Billy Bush because of him.
I mean, he lost his job. That's not good.
Well, that's never good to lose your job. But at the same time, he's a Bush. He's related. He's a nephew of the former president and the cousin of another former president. So I'm sure.
Did you just drop some science on us? Is he really related to the Bushes?
Yeah, he's really related to the Bushes.
Oh, okay. Well, you lost your job.
Yeah. so he'll be okay.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
But this brings up so many things. It brings up privilege. It brings up sense of entitlement. It brings up women's rights. It brings up whether or not someone's fit to be president. I mean, we talk about all the stuff. It also brings up something to me in regards to, I'm a pastor's son, and we talk about the evangelical movement. And a lot of the evangelicals, especially the Southern Baptists, they are Trump supporters. I don't know how Woody's always on my computer.
I'm trying to send this so I can link it up over
here. Okay, all right. Why don't you take it over here then? Why don't you do that? All right.
Go ahead.
So they're Trump supporters. And someone, if you're truly, a Christian conservative and moral values, whether it's, homosexual marriage or whatever it is something that really drives you, how can you justify backing this man? I mean, it makes one really think about the hypocrisy that comes along with this, because we all know that if President Obama had one little glitch of anything inappropriate in his past or in his current behavior, they will fall off like a ton of rocks and say how he shouldn't be in office, how he's not a moral leader and things of that sort. And he has been exemplary. I don't think we've had another president in my memory that has been so clean cut, so to speak. Where
as Barack Obama?
Yeah. His integrity is not in question. The things that they tried to come up with about him were all made up. It had to do something. They had to come up with something. So it had to be something in regards to, he wasn't born in this country. They had to come up with something. So anyway, long story short, I want to play a video from this debate, this past second presidential debate. It was like something I've never seen. I've never seen something that was so non or unpresidential. It was almost like a game of dozens on a schoolyard.
Yeah, for real.
It was crazy, the stuff that was said. Banana Republic type of stuff. Trump saying that if he were elected into office, he would prosecute Hillary. And his supporters, they may think that's all, gung-ho, and that's exciting to hear, but they don't understand what that means.
That's the same thing they do in third world countries.
In third world countries, when a dictator takes over, he takes over and he kills or jails all of his political opponents. Obviously, he can't do that in the United States, but someone who even has that type of mentality should not be the leader of the free world.
Oh, yeah, that's just one reason why he should.
That's just one reason. But do you have that video queued up? Play that video about the whole sexual escapade thing that Donald Trump is talking about. Play that for me, Jarvis.
He's a sex fiend.
We received a lot of questions online, Mr. Trump, about the tape that was released on Friday. As you can imagine, you called what you said locker room banter. You described kissing women without consent, grabbing their genitals. That is sexual assault. You bragged that you have sexually assaulted women. Do you understand that?
No, I didn't say that at all. I don't think you understood what was said. This was locker room talk. I'm not proud of it. I apologize to my family. I apologize to the American people. Certainly, I'm not proud of it. We have a world where you have ISIS chopping off heads. Yes, I'm very embarrassed by it. I hate it. But it's locker room talk, and it's one of those things. I will knock the hell out of ISIS. I will take care of ISIS.
So, Mr.
And
Trump,
we should get on to much more important things and much bigger things.
just for the record, though, are you saying that what you said on that bus 11 years ago, that you did not actually kiss women without consent or grope women without consent?
I have great respect for women. Nobody has more respect for women than I do.
So for the record, you're saying you never did that?
I said things that, frankly, you hear these things I said, and I was embarrassed by it. But I have tremendous respect for women.
Have you ever done those
women
things?
Have respect for me, and I will tell you, no, I have not.
Secretary Clinton, do you want to respond?
Boom. Gotcha. I have to give it up to Anderson Cooper right there, because he did keep pressing until he got an answer, a point-blank answer to the question. The question was, have you ever put into action these things that you claim are just words? These things that you claim that, excuse me, I've only spoken about it, but Bill Clinton has actually done these things. Even though Bill Clinton is not on the ticket, it's a whole different story. The point is that he caught Donald Trump there in what seems to be a lie.
And now women are coming out of the closet, and they're saying
they are coming out of the woodworks.
Yeah.
In regards to this, they're coming out of the woodworks saying that they've had certain experiences with Donald Trump. Now, I'm not surprised about it. No one really, if we are honest with ourselves, none of us are really surprised about hearing these things about Donald Trump.
No, not at all. I mean, he admitted to it.
No one's, But the point is that, number one, he lied about it. And number two, hopefully, though, for those that are blind, that refuse to see, do you really think that this is the type of person that once he has the ultimate power chair, and every great president has some form of humility. President Obama knows that he is the most powerful man in the world right now, but yet and still he seems very approachable in certain regards, and he has a certain level of of dignity and some sort of humble type of demeanor about him. President Trump would have no chill whatsoever. There's nothing about him that would seem as if he could be empathetic, truly empathetic to our huge, diverse nation, and someone that another country can deal with, that they can see that, okay, we're dealing with integrity on the other side of the table. Now, what we've been trying to do, what a lot of people have been doing, is that they've been trying to form this false equivalence. So why are you looking at me like that, Woody? I want you.
Go ahead.
No, I'm done with the rant. You can come on. You can come on in with this. Come on in with
okay.
this. This is false equivalent. This false equivalency that's been coming up lately, and this false equivalency is basically saying, well, they're both bad. So what do we have to choose from? Understanding that there's degrees and different degrees of bad. There's
there's you can't compare the two.
You can't compare the two.
You can't compare the two. She messed up with some emails. She lied and said, whatever she lied about because she needed to cover her ass. And okay, she made a mistake. We all know that. We all know she shouldn't have done it. What else? What else is there? Whitewater. We want to go back to Whitewater. But honestly, this woman's dedicated her whole life to politics, to helping people.
Mm-hmm.
You can't compare the two. This guy is a buffoon. He's an idiot.
He's an idiot.
He's an idiot. He doesn't even know how to control himself. And how are you going to control yourself? Let me tell you something. If Donald Trump was elected president of the United States, not only would the Republican Party be divided, but those generals that control our armies would be divided. These are the type of situations that create coups. People start to whisper amongst each other and behind each other's backs. And before you know it, our government, the United States of America, has split. There's a coup that's trying to take over America and the government. And guess who's going to fall right into that gap? Putin.
Yeah, this is the deal, too. So
it's very dangerous.
This stuff about,
you can't play with this.
I had dinner with a friend of mine, Brian Paul. Excuse me, Dr. Brian Paul, this past week.
Did he give you something for that call?
No.
Okay.
So I need something for the call. So anyway, we were speaking, and he told me about this. There was a UN, an assistant secretary of state, and she was caught on tape or something, or in the email, some of these hacked emails, and was talking about how we, as the United States, were involved in the Ukraine and getting them to kind of turn against Russia. How we
supported Ukraine's
I mean
Russia.
before in the election, there was an election where they were going to decide whether or not they still wanted to be associated with Russia, or they wanted complete independence or something like that.
Yeah.
And that we were actually involved in trying to get them to separate from Russia. It's as in the CIA or something was really. The reason why I say that is this.
Mm-hmm.
Countries do this type of stuff, and we do this type of stuff. We are not angels in the United States. We've done things
that we should be ashamed of.
We've done things in regards to interfering in other democracies and other elections and trying to sway certain things. We've done things in our past. Maybe not our actual government, but maybe it's the CIA or something, because they want to keep certain levels of balance in regards to whether or not it's a bad actor that could possibly cause greater damage if they were to be in power in another country. But there's certain things. So we shouldn't be surprised if another country tries to do something like that to us.
Not at all.
But that's where the benefit of having a truly educated population, educated citizenry, that's where it matters. Because for people, all the media says
won't
about
stand for the bull.
Yeah, not just that, because all the media keeps saying that Trump is winning well against lowly educated or uneducated whites, which I hate to hear that, because
but that's a statistic.
Yeah, that's the way they categorize people, and people are people. But still, the fact that you can be so easily swayed in certain directions, right or left, that's not good for our country.
And I think that's just a direct reflection of not understanding the issues and not understanding the magnitude of this office.
That's true.
While you can be a reality personality and appeal to those in the mid, when we talk about reality shows and when they do TV ratings, we all know it's about the Midwest, right? Yeah. The larger populations with Chicago, Detroit,
L.A., New York.
Not so much L.A. and New York, but
Oh, you mean like in regards to
true ratings of television shows. It's the Midwest, the center of the country, that really drives the ratings. If it was just L.A. and it wouldn't be just L.A., Miami, New York. That's not really the focus of. But I think it's more concentrated.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So when you look at and that's kind of that television crowd that's behind Donald Trump. He appeals to the folks that are in the description, which, whether you like it or not, is generally what it is. Now, I do know folks who are educated, who support him. Actually,
I know some very smart people that support him, but
Okay.
but it may be because of one or two issues, because these are
one or
very
two
good
issues.
pe-
I like
they
one or
might-
two issues that maybe
exactly.
he-
Like maybe it's a tax policy, because Hillary's tax policy.
the job.
Yeah.
The job policy.
I don't
import-
think his job stuff. I think that he overstates his
ability. for sure.
ability.
Yeah.
So like even with, and I support President Obama, but presidents, they don't really have that much control over
don't.
the job market.
They don't.
They get too much credit if the job market is good, and they get too much blame if it's bad.
Well,
So-
I think in Barack's case, though, with it being so bad, it was 11%.
Yeah, because the thing is that with that was one of the few times, which doesn't happen very often, that was one of the few times wherein monetary policy, trade policy, and government actually subsidizing, like in the automotive bailout,
Right.
where federal government did have some power to
Direct
help
effect,
contribute.
yeah,
So
exactly.
that's an anomaly. That doesn't
And I
happen
don't think
very
people
often.
understand how intelligent our current president, Barack Obama, is to be able to pull the country up by its bootstraps and get us out of that mess that we're in 8 short years. That's pretty miraculous. And although, you're not going to be 100% satisfied. I mean, you never are.
The thing is that it seems like we have a caller calling.
Yeah.
Caller, can I have your name and the city you're calling in from, please?
Beth from San Diego.
Hi, Beth.
from San Diego. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Did you want to chime in on Donald Trump and his
What are you
comments
calling about,
and
Beth?
actions?
Yes.
Okay.
I am. So first of all, I would just say that I wouldn't care if I supported him on any policy that he preaches. The way he presents himself is not presidential, so he would never have my vote, even if I agreed on
Yeah.
100% of his policies.
Right. Yeah.
So tell me this: what did you think about the way he's handled the accusations that have come his way regarding these
Fondling
women?
of women.
Yeah, exactly. These sexual assaults.
Sexual
essentially.
assaults. Yeah.
Well, he, like everything, he doesn't really handle any situation. He just kind of
Brushes it
negates
off.
and moves past it.
Yeah.
But to me, he's managed to insult, I think, just about every human being out there at some point or another. But this in particular, hits home because as a woman, I think we've all experienced this in some sense.
Really.
And I think that him being the leader of our country really kind of promotes the whole, I guess this is the whole idea that this is okay.
So
You
Beth,
can kind of dehumanize women.
So Beth, you're saying that you think that this is something that's a regular occurrence that women deal with?
It most definitely is.
Really? Okay.
That's sad. I mean, to
Yeah.
It is very sad, and it's not a good feeling.
And that's maybe the reason why especially some of the women, like the one that was interviewed by Anderson Cooper, the 70-something-year-old woman who said that Donald Trump groped her back in 1979. Maybe this is one of the reasons why she hadn't come forward, because it was just something that women are just accustomed to dealing
Well,
with.
I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think, what do you do against Donald Trump? I mean, you can't sue
No,
him.
no. It's not about suing. Oh, yes, you can sue him. You can sue anyone.
mean,
That's not the point.
but
The
it's
point
his
is
word
whether or
against
not you feel like you have a case, whether or not you think that you have something that someone will believe or someone will take seriously.
That's
do you
what
think?
I'm saying, yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, especially being, in the media, if you're going to accuse someone like Donald, it's going to amplify, they're going to try and make you seem like you're a bad person, you're lying, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But this is just just on a day-to-day situation, you think of the woman that got raped but that doesn't want to come out because she doesn't think that they're going to listen to her story, that they're going to turn her into, like, oh, she dressed the wrong way, so she deserved it.
Right. Flip the script on him.
So you think
Yeah.
that So and thank you so much for calling in, Beth.
You're
So
welcome.
so you before we let you go, so when you hear a woman that is claiming that Donald Trump groped her or touched her in an inappropriate fashion, and it happened years ago, the fact that they're coming out now, do you think it's just merely because he's running for president, or was it prompted by what he said during the debate where he said, no, I've never done anything like this, and so this just said, okay, this is enough. I need to say something. What do you think it is?
I think it's probably a combination of both, but I think specifically now, I mean, if he would have done this to me back then, and this whole presidential campaign started, I probably would have said something in the beginning. But realistically, this is the crunch part of, the candidacy, and so this is where all the stuff that's really going to impact this vote coming in November. So with this happening, I'm sure maybe it's like that panic, like you have to hear this.
Yeah.
People need to know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think enough of his Trump supporters probably don't view this as a problem.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question, Beth. If it did happen, if it did occur, or does it make any difference whether or not they enjoyed it and went along with it? If they're bringing their story to the table and say, hey, he groped me, but I went along with it, but that's his character. So is this kind of a character?
I don't think I've heard anyone say that they went along with it and they enjoyed it.
No, I'm not saying they have. I'm saying, does it make it any worse or any better if someone does come to the fore and says, you know what? Yeah, he groped me inappropriately, but I just kind of went with it. We were on his jet. I felt trapped, and I never reported it because I just, it didn't really bother me. But this is his character.
But do you think that someone that was in that position would even care to bring it up because they were complicit in it?
I don't know.
They
What do you
probably
think,
wouldn't,
Beth? Yeah.
unless they were just trying to say, hey, it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, Beth, thank you so much for calling in. We really appreciate your insight. You've been
Thanks,
very
Beth.
helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
weekend.
Enjoy.
So,
You too.
I'm glad that we had Beth call in because, and also anyone else who wants to call in, you can reach us at area code 323-843-2826, especially young ladies, 323-843-2826, because
Do you think they'll be indicted?
Well, no, I don't. The thing is that one thing we will never be is that we'll never be women. Forget Caitlyn Jenner, but we'll never be women. And so we don't understand as men, and that's why was very glad to hear a woman call in. We'll never understand what it feels like to be a woman in regards to being sexualized or in some cases disrespected.
Yeah.
And it's being, and if you look at today's society, today's culture, there may be some women that overtly embrace that and utilize that sexualization of themselves for their own gain. But for the most part, what happens with that is that sometimes they are objectified, and that's not good. And if you're dealing with a woman with a brain, she doesn't want to be objectified.
Right.
And so that's it's a fine line there. And what Donald Trump did was that he used his power and his money, which is what they claim Bill Clinton did, but at the same time, we're not looking
Bill Clinton or Bill Cosby?
Both. But we're not voting for Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton has been in the doghouse. He's been chastised. He's been impeached.
Right.
And he's had his his pittance, his punishment that came along with this.
Right.
Now we're thinking about hiring someone for this particular office, knowing what he's like going into it.
Who may be indicted along the way.
And then if you look at it, think about how he handles pressure. Now, pressure. You see how what's happened. I should be president because I've gone great.
I told you should run, man.
I should run, yeah, because I've gone great. But just think about how youthful and exuberant President Obama was back in 2007, 2008.
Yeah,
and you look at
before
him
and
now.
afters, yeah.
This job truly has pressure. There's
and Trump
always
can't handle
something.
Any pressure, obviously.
And there's some things that happen that you can control, and there's a lot of it that comes and it's just put on your plate. And so just think about how he's reacted towards pressure.
And these are life or death decisions
that
have to be made.
So the pressure that comes along with being the president, let's just say the pressure, and so now he has this pressure with accusations. What does he say about this stuff? He comes out and further insults the women.
It says, look at her.
Look at
that
her.
70-year-old woman. Would
Yeah,
you look
but
at
she
her?
wasn't 70 when you tried to hit on her, when you tried to grope her on a plane.
But that's his reaction, though.
Yeah, and so let's just say you take it at face. Let's just assume in a hypothetical, mythical universe that Trump is telling the truth. The simple way that he's handling it, the way he is, he does not do justice to his own case because his character is so low that people expect that of people like him. Because let's just say if he came before a camera, was contrite and said, listen, if I've done anything to offend anyone, this and the other, I apologize. But trust me, there's nothing I've done, that even remotely, it's not in my character to do anything like this. He doesn't have that in him. He doesn't have the chill button in him.
He's like, I did it. So what? I'm not apologizing for it. Locker room talk. Let's move on.
Yeah, locker room talk.
And I bet he's going to say she wanted it at some point.
Let me tell you about something about locker room talk, because I spend lots of time in locker rooms, Mr. Trump.
I haven't been in that locker room that Trump's been in, but go ahead. Tell me about the locker room.
No, there's a such thing as a locker room, and there's such thing as locker room
obviously,
talk. But let me tell you
I've
something.
never heard that talk in a locker room.
You were not in the locker room when you said this stuff. That's the point. If locker room talk is meant for the locker room. If you are, and even he was really explicit with his locker room. I mean, we say stuff in the locker room. Dudes talk just like women talk too. Everyone talks. They talk about this, talk about that.
Yeah.
But he had a level of like creepiness.
Right.
He had a level like a almost a predatory type of weirdness that is like. And and remember how he couched it. He didn't say like, I like her, she like me, I got game, whatever. He didn't. It's like, I'm a star, so I can do this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like it's a weird sort of perverted, like, I'm not in the dude's head, thank God, but I don't know.
I mean, we all heard it, and we all know it's perverted, and it's not ordinary. We've all been in the locker room, we've heard locker room talk, but that's just something that's a little creepy. That's the guy in the locker room or whatever who says some things. You look at him like everybody just gets silent and kind of just walks away from the dude. That's a special kind of guy right there.
Yeah, and I have a comment from Faith Lacey Brown. How you doing, sweetheart? She says, why does it matter? If it's true, it's wrong. Does it become okay if someone waits too long to expose the truth?
No, I mean, it's not okay. We all know it's not okay.
Yeah.
And I do understand why women have decided to wait and maybe come forth now.
So the young lady, Jessica, I can't remember her last name. The 74-year-old that said back in 1979 that Trump groped her on the plane.
And he said, I didn't look at her?
I think her name was Jessica Leeds. Anyway, Jessica, she said that the reason why she didn't come out and say anything was because back in 1979, she was the only outside salesperson at her company that had this type of position. She was like the token woman, and she was in a men's world, and she's flying business class, going to meet clients. And back then, it wasn't many of her.
Right.
And she enjoyed her job. She didn't want to seem like she was that woman. She liked being the position she was in. And in that time, you just don't complain. This is just part of playing the voice.
Completely.
So, and she said that what made her come out and say something was when, during this debate, when Trump lied to Anderson Cooper and said, no, he's never done anything like that. And then she said also, it hit me that, this man will be
the
president. Just think about all the scandals and everything that will come out. Will we really be proud of who we are as Americans
if we elect Donald Trump?
Oh my God! So let's push on. So because it's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen if you guys don't vote.
But let me tell you, but this
don't
is
think that Hillary's got
exactly.
this.
Yeah,
you got to get out and vote.
Get out and vote. Now,
register online. Very simple. Very easy.
Yeah. Now let me tell you something else, and this is even more important. Let's talk about Congress. Let's talk about the Senate and the House. So these same senators and congressmen that were out trying to leave. Well, they're leaving Trump's camp now. Yeah. After they saw the Entertainment Tonight stuff and stuff. But these are the same fools, and I do say fools, and I do mean it, that were supporting this guy without even thinking about whether or not he had the character to run for office.
Barack Obama had a very eloquent speech in regards to that,
what did he
usual.
say? What did he say?
Well, what he said basically.
Say it like Barack.
I can't do it. I can't. My mind will explode. That dude's on point. But what he said was basically, you guys waited until now. He went through some of the data points in terms of what has happened along the way of Trump's since he's been running, and kind of outlined each data point until he got to the end and say, now you want to abandon ship, this short term before the election's in place. He said, what was wrong along the way after this guy kept making mistakes and showing you who he was? And now you want to back out. And for those of you who have not, then you're really going to have to stand up to the fact that you've owned, Donald Trump as your elected official for the Republican Party. So, I mean, it was pretty deep. You know how Barack can go on and cover that. And then also Michelle Obama.
Oh,
Did you hear her speech?
Oh, she's amazing.
She was amazing. And she had limited time on the teleprompter. She was spitting this from the dome, which I was very, very impressed. And she, of course, got up there and talked about how disappointed and how hurt she was and offended by the words that Donald Trump spoke on that videotape with Access Hollywood. So, it's affecting people in so many different ways, and those folks that are out there still supporting him. And I get it. At this point, if you're a Donald Trump supporter, you're probably not going to change your direction. If you're a Hillary Clinton supporter, you're most likely going to continue to be a Hillary Clinton supporter because Donald Trump's not giving you anything to persuade you to come to his side or the Republican Party side. And it's not even the Republican Party at this point. It's the Trump Party.
Yeah, it's the Trump Party. And there's going to be a splinter. And this is necessary. It's necessary for there to be a splinter in the Republican Party because I've said it before. We need a vibrant, ideologically sound Republican Party. We need that. We need it to balance out. Well, I can't remember who it was that said absolute power absolutely corrupts.
Yep.
We can't have a country and demographics are always leaning towards Democrats because of the types of policies and the politicians and I don't know if it goes back to the Southern strategy by Nixon back in the 60s when Lyndon Johnson, after he signed the Civil Rights Bill, just pretty much gave up on the American South, which turned all of them Republican. Mm-hmm. And so now it's getting to a point now wherein if you are Republican, you, for the most part, you fall into a certain demographic. You're either older and white, male usually, or you are a Southerner.
Or you are a wealthy male, white.
Yeah. There you go. And so,
and there's some African American Republicans,
and with the disparity and the gap, with the disparity in the wealth gap, it's not that many,
right?
Of the rich ones. So it's not that many of them, and that demographic is shrinking or dying out, and they may pass. But so the point is that the thing is that we need the Republican Party to fix what's going on within it. If it takes for you to purge that loyal part of your electorate that gives into tribal or racial politics, wherein you have a xenophobic behavior and xenophobic policies, whether or not it's immigration, whether or not it's your propensity to just love the political, not the political, but the judicial system as is, without recognizing that things need to change in certain regards, without with an economic policy that's completely supply side, and you don't have any wherewithal or any sense of what it means to be a true middle class American.
Right. And that's the issue. That's the issue. They have no idea what it means to be a middle class American. If you ask.
But they say they do.
Well, if you ask them how much a gallon of milk is, or a carton of eggs, or some of the basic questions that folks in middle America have the answers to, they have no clue. And they have to understand. I mean, the Republican Party. If you look at the Republican side, if you look at the Republican convention, there's a sea of skin of the same color.
Yeah, it's pretty.
You cannot represent the United States of America, not in today's world, and have one color of people
get a chance. You get a chance to fix it,
and you have to fix that. You've got to reach out, and you've got to understand what's really going on out here in the world. And you can't represent. I mean, yes, okay, we have to have a balance. There's folks they primarily represent the wealthier, folks in this country. But But you have to really.
This is the funny part. Let me tell you what's funny about
help the average middle class
This is what's
American.
funny about it. This is really funny to me, and
Sure.
I'm not. And it's not true republicanism because the ideas may be what they are. But let me tell you how it's been adopted by certain segments of the population that don't really buy into what it truly means to be Republican. For one, they're for small government, and that's fine with me.
Right.
I actually like that. But they're saying pull yourself up by the bootstraps. But at the same time,
You have to have opportunities.
the opportunities that and the avenues
Educational
wherein
opportunities.
that you're able to pull yourself up by the bootstraps, they continually defund those.
Right.
Public education is how you pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
If we
It's
spend
not charter schools and private school vouchers. You need to have a very healthy and robust public education system. That's how you're put in a position where you can pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
and it's not a priority. It's a priority.
It's not.
Okay,
Because they want to starve. Because they want to starve the government. They don't want to. They want to take. I don't like. Trust me. I don't like taxes. But if you are truly governing the way you should, then those tax dollars should be accounted for, and that's where Republicans can come in handy. Say this money needs to go here, but at the same time, they're not doing that. They're not saying where this is where the funds need to be allocated. What they're saying is that we don't want any funds. We don't have any taxation coming in, and also we're going to give tax breaks to the people who need them the least because they're the ones that are going to create jobs.
Donald Trump's
I'm going
the
to tell
one.
you what creates jobs. What creates jobs for the most part is demand, not necessarily supply. You need demand, which is this: is that you need a person that's their ability to buy your product. If you have someone who can buy your product, that means that your demand is going to grow. Because now your demand is growing because more people have purchasing power and more ability to buy your product. Now they're going to have to, on the supply side, which are the people that make that product, they're going to need more people, more automation. They're going to be able to have to be able to just create those jobs that can supply the demand of the product.
The United States of America is the greatest country in the world. You look at the inner cities of Detroit, Michigan, for example. Now we're talking about going to Syria. And I hate to see people being bombed and killed unnecessarily, but we're about to spend how many hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, to go to Syria to help these people.
And what about Flint?
What about Flint, Michigan? What about, we can name an inner city, Baltimore, Maryland. We can name cities all across America that could use those funds. Get in there, build the schools, give the kids computers, give them some hope, give them education, because that's all you really have.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an educated person, you can succeed. If you don't have a means to education, you're more likely to not succeed.
That's what I would love to see.
We're wasting money.
I would love to see
Redirect
a
the
situation
funds.
wherein they have a debate and they talk about how they're going to fix
the inner cities of
certain
America?
infrastructure. Not just the inner cities, the infrastructure of America. If they fix the infrastructure, then the inner cities are going to benefit from that.
Right.
So, and then you got to think about
focus on education. If
they have education and they
first.
but you got to remember, the president is a figurehead and he has certain executive powers. But we have a balance of powers in the United States. We have the judicial branch, we have the legislative branch, we have the executive branch. These are three equal branches of government. The thing that makes the presidency more popular, so to speak, because it's one man as opposed to a body, and because we originally and he has the power to veto, but still vetoes can be overridden by Congress. But also it comes from our history of coming from a monarchy, dealing with a king in England. So we're used to having one figurehead. That's just human nature. Used to having one figurehead. The point is this. The point is understand that you need to, as much as you pay attention to the presidential election, you have to look at Congress, the senators, and the people in the House, the congressmen, and you have to show just as much attention to who you elect in those seats as you do.
It's probably more important.
Very much so.
More important than the presidential
Very
race.
much so. So that's my point. Let me ask me no questions like
this. Hey, man, I had to get you
man.
to it. Sometimes you get on these sky-high things.
Because that's what I do.
I know.
So anyway, you need to understand the balance of power. With President Obama, one of the reasons why he hasn't been able to do as much as he would like to do, because even us liberals, since we tend to, and I do consider myself a liberal. I'm more of a moderate liberal, if that makes any sense, but it's true. But the point is, even us, we're not happy with everything. I'm not really happy with Obamacare as is. But I understand because
I understand the development.
Yeah, I understand the development of it because that's what happens in our country. Right. Everything happens in incremental steps.
Which is why this election is so important for Obamacare and choosing it.
Absolutely.
Justice.
Understand that, people.
So it solidifies.
Incremental progress is what we do in this country. And it's partly because we don't have a king, because we don't have one person that can just wave a wand and do whatever he wants to do. So some people who like love Obama and, he is very much so the figurehead, but at the same time, he had to have a pipeline of supporters in Congress to help get his stuff through. Conversely, for those who are detracting against Obama about what he can't get through, he can't just push something through because he has certain separations of power. People want him to come out the White House and go straight down to a community and fix a particular problem in the judicial system because this boy got locked up or that dude got. He can't do that. It doesn't work. The local government has their jurisdiction. The state government has their jurisdiction. The federal government has its jurisdiction. That's the way the system works. He is not a king. He's not a dictator. He can't just go in and do whatever he wants to do.
He can put people in place. He can elect people.
He can only elect people that fall within the federal realm.
Right, Department of Justice.
Department of Justice, but even the Department of Justice, they deal with federal crimes. They don't deal with state crimes. They deal with federal stuff.
Well, the DOJ with the shootings of these black men, they're investigating the police departments.
But what they're investigating, think about what they're investigating. They didn't not investigating whether or not there's a murder. You got to remember.
No, they're investigating the history of the police department to see if there's a consistency in terms of who they're targeting.
Like they're investigating, Woody. Well, this is what they're investigating. You got to remember, everything has its place in this country. What they're investigating is whether or not there are any civil rights violations.
Civil rights violations, absolutely. You're right.
Because of the Civil Rights Act.
Right.
Everything has its place.
Right. And that's what they're looking for, and that's what they're finding.
And that's in
some
Ferguson,
cases, Missouri, for example.
In Ferguson, they found that. So that's what they do. So to all of our Obama supporters, understand, and also the Obama non-supporters saying that he hasn't done enough here or he hasn't done enough there. It's because he can't do everything.
Listen, he has done more than those the folks that criticize him. And I think we're talking about African Americans from maybe African Americans, let's say. Yeah. Right? Is that what this conversation is going?
Yeah. The people that say
they're expecting him to get in because he's the black president to go in and all of a sudden paint a brush and everybody black is free. No.
Exactly.
He's putting folks in place that care about the struggles of the people, of the African American people. And if you look at, the Department of Justice.
That's not even the right way to put it.
Well, look, what I'm saying is he's making the focus on correcting America's issues. Part of the issues are what's happening with the police department and young black men, right? So that's a huge national issue. So he's able to affect that issue by putting in place folks that have an interest, whether it's a personal interest or whether it's just their job, who are anxious to go after and find out.
Okay, no. Let me tell you what that's not the way it works.
How to correct the issue?
No, that's not the way it works. This is how it works.
Okay, tell me how it works, man.
This is how it works. What he can do is that he can go and he can investigate whether or not there's been any federal issues that have been violated.
And he can appoint the right people
at the federal level.
That head up those investigations.
So all that being said, it's up to you guys, not President Obama. It's up to you to vote at the local level because sheriffs, police chiefs, those guys are police chiefs are administered by the mayors, the city managers. But that's
not what I was talking about.
But that's what it is. If
local situation is local situation.
The only time the federal government will become involved is after the fact. It's reactive because there's been a violation. But if
Obama's able to appoint the folks in those positions that can affect change based on what has occurred.
We're saying you got to understand this. Understand this.
That's what I'm saying.
Hear me. I understand what you're saying, but I understand that.
Okay,
but you keep saying everything you're saying is on the reactive part. It's after something's already happened, then he comes in with the people and say, make sure you're doing this, make sure you're doing that. Exactly. What I'm talking about, if you want to change so that there's not a need for an investigation in the first place,
you got to change yourself.
It's that you have to go ahead and elect people at the local level,
of course,
that have the jurisdiction so that they will conduct themselves in a proper way so that after the fact and after something happens, you don't have to worry about the federal government swooping in to try to see what happened in the backside.
Right.
So this is why we need to pay attention to our local and state elections. We have to pay attention to, because we're in this huge popular Hillary Trump situation where we're voting for president, everyone's focusing on that. But then when you go to vote, you're going to have all these other measures that you're going to have to vote on. All these other down ticket, down ballot people that you're going to have to vote on that you may not know anything about because you haven't heard about them, because on the news and in the newspaper, all you've seen is Trump and Hillary.
Hit Democrats.
So what you need to do is that you need to understand from top to bottom what is going on and who stands for what. That's important. That's actually, believe it or not,
more important than the office of the presidency.
It's actually equally, if not more important, because it has more direct influence on what's going to happen in your life. It really is. It's going to have a lot more of what whoever's running the sheriff's department in your town has a lot more to do with whether or not the policeman is going to touch you up than whether or not you have a black president. So that means you need to pay attention to who the sheriff, whoever you have is the sheriff of your town. You need to understand that.
Is that Trump touch you up?
Look at that's just what we call it in the streets. You don't know nothing about the streets. Okay. Hey, check this out though. I need to go to Hope for Adam really quick. So I went to see my friend Adam this week. He's at City of Hope out in Duarte, and Adam, he's a beautiful individual, a beautiful family. He's a close friend of mine. His family are close friends of mine, and the word about Adam's condition has reached global scales. Over 20 million people have gone in to see whether or not they could donate bone marrow. We haven't had a genetic match for Adam yet, but we're still hoping and believing for one. Anderson Cooper of CNN recently tweeted out, support for Hope for Adam. Kim Kardashian recently tweeted out Hope for Adam. It's a huge movement, and Adam has already, through his donor drive, he's already found matches for other people that need bone marrow transplants. Now, let's pay it forward. We need it for Adam. If you have not gotten the cotton swab to see whether or not you're a genetic match, do it. Go to join.hopeforadam.com. It's in all the social media. If you go hashtag Hope for Adam, HOPE, the number 4 Adam, if you hashtag that on Instagram, it'll go there as well, and on Facebook as well. It's huge and it's big, and Adam needs it. He needs it. This dude is extraordinary. He's a father. He's only 31 years old. He's a father of 3, married, beautiful wife, beautiful children, beautiful family, and his life just turned in a matter of 2 months, and that stuff could happen to any of us. Let's find a donor with the proper genetic match for Adam. And if for whatever reason, if your DNA or your genetic code doesn't match up with Adam, then maybe you'll be able to save someone else's life. And remember this: when you get a bone marrow transplant, it's like an enhanced way of giving blood. It's not like it used to be. It used to be where you think that they have to go into your bone, and it's not like that anymore.
Just a cotton
technology has brought us so far, I should say. So let's do that. So go to join.hopeforadam.com and let's find a donor that has a genetic match for Adam, so we can get him the life-saving bone marrow transplant that he needs. Let's do it. We have to do it, guys.
That's right.
So I wanted to bring that up. So
so what about this?
Oh, what about what?
Nanobright.
What do you like? You like
Nanobright.
What you know what?
Nanobright?
I bet you get on your wife's nerves sometimes.
I do?
I bet you do.
What,
I
get on your nerves right now?
You get on my nerves all the time.
Well, it doesn't take much though.
That's true. I am pretty
sensitive.
moody.
You're very sensitive.
I am pretty moody.
I'm just trying to remind you about one of our primary sponsors, Nanobright.
I know about Nanobright.
And I want to tell everybody out there in America how that took the ugly off your face.
Yeah, I used to be. I've never been as ugly as Woody. Woody is 10th degree ugly. I was more like 6th degree. Woody is 10th degree ugly. But I'm gonna start slathering this Nanobright on Woody's face too to try to help him out. So Nanobright is vitamins for the skin. That's the simplest, easiest way to put it. They are microparticles of vitamin C and niacin and B12, I think it's B3. These vitamins are infused into your skin, and they really, really help in reducing or eliminating hyperpigmentation.
Right.
If you're not familiar with what hyperpigmentation is, it's basically like if you have darker skin, if you get a cut, it'll come in, the scab may be a little bit darker, so it seems like you have discoloration. It pretty much eliminates that.
Right.
And it also helps out with sun damage of all skin types. So if you have blotchiness on your skin, this stuff really helps. It really works well. If you have scarring on your skin, it helps. It's fantastic.
If you don't believe me, look at Ron.
If you don't believe it, look at me. And look at the before and after picture. What is the before? I'm the after picture. 10th degree ugly down to 4th degree ugly, and I'm getting better. So Nanobright, go to nanobright.com, NANOBRYTE.com. If you use the promo code SKIN, you'll get $10 off the product.
Hey, Renee loves that, by the way, Nanobright. She swears by it, and she's been through a whole bucket of stuff.
Renee is very beautiful.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You must have slept with some Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
And
some Donald Trump.
And some Donald Trump to get her to marry you.
Right.
Yeah.
All in one.
Yeah. So everyone, thank you so much for calling
horrible.
in.
That's horrible.
What did you say? What?
What we just said.
I didn't think about that. Renee, I'm sorry. I was just joking.
Well, I'm just saying in general, just was bad humor. But it was funny though. Okay, keep going. I'm sorry.
Nah.
What about our other sponsor you got there?
Woody.
Is that it? Okay.
No, it's not it.
Okay.
Jivago Watches.
There you go, Jivago.
Woody, tease him up.
Hey, man, we got to run out of time.
Okay, it's all good. Jivago Watches, premium watch brands.
That's
www.jivagowatches.com. Men's and women's fashions, leather, metal. It's not acrylic. What's that one that's really popular now? It's not acrylic. I can't remember what it's called, but it's fantastic. Maybe it's called acrylic. It's a new type of band, and I saw one in the Jivago showroom that is so tight.
Yeah,
it's so dope. I'm telling you, I'm going to get one. I'm bringing it into the show. But go to www.jivagowatches.com. Look at these different various styles of Jivago watches. This is a Parisian brand out of France, and they've been here for quite some time. It's an amazing product. Go there, check it out. Men's and women's fashions. The holiday season is coming up. Go and get your Jivago watches.
Tell them about the discount.
You don't get a discount if you go to Amazon. Lots of times you go to Amazon, you may be able to get a Jivago watch for a bit of a discount, but this is good stuff. Jivago. You got to check it out. Say it one more time, Woody.
Jivago.
Fantastic. So listen, between now and next week's show, Donald Trump is bound to do something.
Something stupid.
He may pull out. Listen to me, guys. I have a prediction. Woody, I got a prediction.
What's that? It's going to do something dumb.
I got a prediction that Donald Trump is going to go on Ella DeGeneres and grab her and pull out his penis.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's see if that happens. How much you want to put on that? How much money you want to put on that one?
Yeah, I said it.
No, but
Donald
you know
Trump
what?
is sick.
There's
nothing he can do. There's nothing he could do that would surprise me. Even that, I'll be like, yeah, I expected it.
Yeah. Or who's the woman he hates so much?
Rosie
O'Donnell. Yeah, he'll do that to Rosie O'Donnell.
He may do it to Rosie. Yeah. Oh, that would be terrible. Anyway, well,
Make
listen,
for good
guys.
Television, though.
Yeah. Would it? I don't know. Well,
do not elect Donald Trump as our next president.
No, we won't. But remember, now folks. The focus, along with not electing Trump and electing Hillary, not that Hillary's the greatest, but along with that, be sure to pay attention to down ticket. Elect the right congressmen and senators, because that's what's going to matter.
That's important.
Remember that. Do it. Pay attention to that. And at your local level, you need to vote locally and at the state and at the federal level, not just presidential. Pay attention to everything. We can do it. You can do it all. Guys, thank you so much for listening to us, for me and Woody's rant. Me and Woody's...
Ron's rant more than mine.
Exactly. I want to listen to you.
Mine was very poignant. Yours was ranty.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Woody's crazy. But listen, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for choosing us to spend your weekend, to start your weekend. Yes. And we will be back with you again next week on Focus with Ron Frierson.
Don't drink and drive.
Peace. Emporia Stay, baby. Emporia Stay Hornets.
Right, let's go out with the music. Go Rams. LA Rams, baby.
Let this beat play too, Vargas. This is Jacoby.